So in the last episode, we discussed about how to create a SIEM lab. But tell me one thing, without logs, how SIEM works?
It's ridiculous.
Exactly. So today's episode, we will show you how you can actually get some logs into your SIEM. I will show you how to create your DSM parsers, how to send your logs from your storage space. You might have any logs. You can have Syslog, you can have different kind of log forwarder to your system, and you can send all those logs to your SIEM. So what are you waiting for? So this is gonna be a real practical series, guys.
Just like the church says, just bring it!
So I won't waste any further time. Let's go into our lab and start the session right away. Let's do it.
Okay, so I am picking up this session where we have actually left last time. So I assume by this time you have already installed QRadar Community Edition version. If not, you can follow my previous steps. You can go to the link in the description and it is coming up somewhere in the I button now. You can follow that steps and you can install it, right? Now I will log into the QRadar Community version, and as usual for last time, let me show you that we don't have any logs currently being showed in QRadar Community Edition console. Okay, we are not gonna do anything on this console today because it's like, you cannot do copy paste, you cannot write something because it's a virtual machine as a OVA format, right? So I have decided to do everything in my shipped workstation. So I'll show you how you can actually do that. Okay, but before we going there, let's go to log activity, and you see that there is no logs, right? And even we don't have the system messages, information messages, nothing is coming up, right? So let's see what actually going on and why we don't have those logs. Okay, I have logged into my shipped workstation, and let's do a quick SSH to that particular box. Okay, yeah, so we are logged into the QRadar box. So what we actually did, we did a SSH from a third party instance or a command line as per se. We do a simply SSH. Okay, so if I now do a pwd, you will see that there is a root and we are obviously inside the root. What we need to do, so I have done a quick research. They have actually done some fixes. Okay, so if you are not using that proper license, you don't have any logs. Even that doesn't matter, you might not have system messages also. Okay, so let's apply that fix and let's see if we have at least those logs like system event logs or information logs coming up. Okay, so now I will just copy paste that whole command. Okay, so don't worry about the full command, I'll give that in the description box. You just need to copy it and paste, and bam. Now let's go back to our QRadar console and let's see if we are at least having the system event logs that we are talking about, right? Yeah, now as you can see that we are getting the logs that you can see. So these are like health matrices, like API request, information message, all of these things, right? But these are all the messages that is currently coming by default from QRadar, right? Now we are not actually looking for those logs, which is actually these logs, right? But we need to send our own logs to the QRadar system so that we can create our own customization, we can create our own rule, and we can create anything, right? So let's do that now. Now if you remember that we have a particular file which is called demo zip that we have downloaded from our last episode. I showed you the link, right? From the Jose Bravo link from the box. Now what actually we are gonna do, this file is having all of our parsers, like then logs, whatnot, right? So we need to ship this particular zip file to our QRadar box. Okay, so for doing that, what we are gonna do, we are gonna fire up application which is called FileZilla. Okay, so you can download the FileZilla from anywhere. So what we are gonna do, we are gonna do a simple SFTP to our QRadar box. Okay, so what is our ID of the QRadar box? So let's take that the IP address of our QRadar box. I will copy it, I'll paste it, and you remember the username is root, and I will provide my password. Okay, and this is a SFTP, so I'll connect on like port 22. Okay, so I can do that, and now see I have connected to my QRadar machine using FileZilla, right? So what I need to do, I need to go back to a location which is called as store. Okay, if you come here to the bottom, you see there is a file called demo.zip. So I'll store that file simply to this location. So what it is currently doing, so it is currently shipping the logs from my system to the QRadar system, right? Okay, now as you see our file transfer is successful. You can see it over here. Now quickly let's verify it from our this page also, like the command prompt also, where we are actually logged in, right? So where we are now, we are currently in root. So what we gonna do, we will go inside store. Okay, and if we do a quick ls, and you see there is a file called demo.zip. Okay, so we are gonna do a quick unzip of this demo.zip file. Okay, at this point of time the extraction is completed. Now if you simply do a quick ls again, and you will see a demo file. Okay, so let's see what is actually inside our demo. Okay, so if we do a ls-l demo, you see there are a lot of files. Okay, now let me show you where actually we will be having all of our like syslog store. Yeah, we are gone inside, and we will do a quick ls-l. So you will see that there are some files like some bash or some like shell scripting, and we will go inside this events directory. Okay, so I am just do a quick ls-l to just show you what are the events that is currently inside. Now you see there are different folders that has been created under each location. Okay, so remember each and every like folder is containing the syslog of each and every device. So for example, if we just want to go inside ls/events then slash like FireEye, we will go inside FireEye. Let's see what is inside. We have an MPS, so we'll click that and we'll go inside MPS. Now you see there are syslog already installed in that, and if you do a simple cat, and you will see that okay, so FireEye MPS 26 and 01 log, and let me show you basically, because what actually we are gonna ingesting right to our QRadar. Now you see these are all the logs that we are gonna send to QRadar. Okay, so let's do that now. Okay, so it's pretty simple command at this point of time. So you know there is a particular script that can be helpful to parse all of these commands to your like QRadar. Okay, so let me clear up my screen, so I hope it is visible and it is top in front of your screen. So what is that particular command? So it's called logrun. Okay, so logrun.pl. So just remember the syntax, -f for the file that we are gonna ship. Okay, so I'll take that file name as just the file that we have shown you from the FireEye, and I'll paste that location, and then I'll give a -u. So -u is a particular symbol which will actually give you that option, like to if you want to like mask a particular IP address. So you might have lot of IP address in your logs, but I want to mask all those IP addresses to a specified IP address. Okay, so that's the reason we can give as -u options. Okay, so once the -u option is done, so you can simply give it like that. Let's say okay, so 10.1.3.10, right? So maybe you can give it anything what you might want. Okay, now we will give as -l option 10. So this means like how many times this particular log run will run and push this same syslog file to your QRadar. Okay, and the last thing we will mention as a number, which is how many events or how many events per second that QRadar we want to ship to QRadar. Okay, and I'll simply paste as like that. Now let us go back to our QRadar console, and as you can see, there are logs are getting shipped. Right now you tell me one thing, why the hell these logs are coming as unknown log event? That means there is something fishy going on, right? Okay, now I have just grouped the events with the event name information. Okay, so you see these all are the logs that is currently as considered as like a system notification as localhost, SIEM audit localhost. These are all the logs that is coming by default from your QRadar. So this is not the log that we are shipping. Okay, so the logs that we are shipping is called like unknown log event. So you will see wherever as like SIEM generic log DSM localhost, these are the logs that we are shipping. Now we need to understand like why these logs are called as unknown log events. There could be several reasons. So one reason is that we do not have a particular parser that is like for which QRadar like understand that hey, these logs might be coming from my the FireEye device, right? Now if you simply like open this any of the log, I have opened it for you already, and if you come here to the bottom section, you can see that the every information is already captured. Okay, so you can see the like the name, whatever the syslog we have just forwarded, but the scene is this log has not been passed properly by QRadar. Okay, so let's do one thing, let's create a DSM parser which is basically for our FireEye device, and let's see how it works. Okay, now let me show you what actually we need to do to create our parsers. But before even doing that, let me first show you where the parsers actually resides. Okay, so for that we will go inside this location and we will do a simply ls. Okay, so now you see this ISO contains all of your parsers. We simply need to do a mount and we will mention the same location. Okay, so I guess I need to be a sudo for doing this mount operation, and I will mention this path and then QRadar. So you can just click like tab and this option will come to you. Okay, so we need to mount it to a location called media, then cd-rom. Okay, so it says it's already mounted, so we are done with one step. So now let me go inside that particular location and let me show you what are the inside these all of these files, right? Okay, so rather going to cd, I can simply do a ls. Okay, so now you see these are all the DSM parsers that is currently present inside that that over file that we have just mounted. Okay, now if we can do a simple ls and we can just search for grep and grep -i and FireEye. Okay, UIE. I hope that works. Oh yeah, cool. So this is the parser name that we need to install so that QRadar can understand that hey, these logs are coming from FireEye device. Okay, so let's do that now. Okay, so now let's install that particular DSM. Okay, so for installing that particular DSM, we just need to do a simple yum -y and then install. Then after that, the full location of the file on which we want to install that particular DSM. Okay, and we will click hit enter, and I will assume that as you can see this package is getting installed. Okay, now as you can see the installation is fully completed. Now let's do one thing, let's run that log run command again and let's send those FireEye logs again to our QRadar console. Okay, so I'm running that particular command, and what I am gonna do, I am gonna simply switch back to our log activity tab and let's refresh the log activity, and I am hoping that this time my log should but again you can see that the unknown log events are still coming. So after even installing the parser, so it is not working. Okay, so there is another reason due to which these logs are not getting parsed. Okay, so These if you remember that these are the devices that these are source IP that we have just sent those logs. Okay, so what we gonna do, we can create a log source out of these files, and we can tell QRadar, hey, if the logs are coming from like this IP address and this device, then capture them as a FireEye log. Okay, so let's do that now. Okay, so for creating a log source explicitly, we need to come to our admin tab, and what we are gonna do, we can click this log sources option. Okay, and you will see that there is an option called add. Okay, so we were gonna hit this add button and we are gonna simply create our log source from scratch. Okay, so what I can write, I can give it as FireEye, then log source as like FireEye MPS, and this particular log source type I need to select as FireEye. Okay, so I'll select as FireEye, and protocol configuration, already we are sending the logs from Syslog device, right? So we don't need to do anything else over here. Okay, so log identifier, remember that this is a interesting thing that you need to remember, because this is the IP address on which, from which actually you are sending the log. So we are masking all of our logs from this IP address, right? So we need to mention that as a log source identifier. Okay, and I don't need to do anything else. I won't simply click save, and I guess that will be done. Okay, and as you can see, the FireEye log source has been enabled, and if you see that last event is NA, because we haven't sent any logs after we have just created this one, right? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna simply close this off, and you see there is a deploy changes. We need to deploy some changes. If you come here, you can expand all that we have last time we have just send some and install some DSM parsers. So what we're gonna do, we can simply deploy changes, and we wait for some time till this deploy change gets completed, and we're gonna come back and send those logs again to see whether these logs are getting at least recognized by QRadar that hey, these logs are coming from FireEye device or not. Okay, so our deploy changes has finally completed, and let us go back to our console, and we will push the logs again to our QRadar console. Okay, so I'm gonna run that simply log run command, and let's go back to our log activity tab, and I'm assuming that hey, awesome. So you can see that we have now finally the FireEye malware protection system message is coming, right? So there are mainly two things that we have done in this section. So the first section that we have done specifically to install the DSM parsers. Okay, so until unless you have DSM parsers installed, your logs not gonna run to QRadar, and QRadar won't understand that hey, from where these logs are coming from. And once the DSM parser has been installed, the second thing we did, we have just created a log source explicitly so that QRadar can understand if this IP address has been matched from my device, those IP address is coming from a FireEye device. Okay, so two things, remember them. Okay, so now as you can see in front of your screen, we have just taken up last 15 minutes of log, and we have grouped it with the event name. Okay, so you see that FireEye protection system message is finally coming, and let me open that for you so that I can show you that what are the fields information that is capturing. Okay, so now if we just go to that particular logs, you see this event is finally getting as like event name is giving created. So now one thing you can ask me, hey, how can I parse this particular event? So let's assume that there could be a message field, right? So there is an like the link address which might be captured by FireEye device. It may be the user has clicked somewhere or something like, and you see there is an exploit browser also, right? Okay, so the S name, that could be a virus name. Okay, so we can do one thing, we can like export these properties explicitly from the payload. Okay, So for doing that, what we need to do, we can simply go to extract properties and we need to write a simply regex pattern. So if you don't familiar with lighting, how can you write regex, you can go back to my previous episode. So you will get the link in the description and it is coming in the I button as well. So you can check that from like how you can actually create a regex pattern. Okay, so now what actually we are trying to do here, we are trying to capture this S name. Okay, so let me do that. So for that, let's say I will write that as maybe like signature name. Okay, and I need to capture this particular S name information. Okay, so for doing that, I can simply write as S name and then this option. Okay, so is name and after that this option, then let's test it out. And as you can see, this is capturing my signature name. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna simply save this option, and now you see this exploit browser has been captured successfully and it is parsed from the log to our signature name as a custom event property. Okay, so like that way you can parse as many event as you want, and you can simply write as many parsers as you want, so that your payload information, and you can create your custom searches based on that. Now let me show you one last option. If you don't want to send those logs by writing individual log run query, there is another option available to this particular location. If I do a simple ls, so you see there is a script called runcases.sh. so let me open that for you. And you see there is a lot of options the way we are actually sending those individual logs. Okay, so for this current tutorial, let me simply show you that whether this particular command gets me anything or not. Run cases.sh. Okay, now you see I have run this particular run cases.sh, and if I go back to the log activity tab, and if I come here, and you see there would be a lot of events that would be coming like unknown event, because as I told you, right, so you might not have all those information like all those DSM parsers, something like that. Okay, so you see there are some information already coming which is getting parsed, like user failed to log in as SSH and virus detected, like PA series log. These are all things are coming. So let me stop that particular script for a second, and let's do a quick check to identify that what are the logs that we have currently shipped for like last 5 minutes of interval. Okay, so now if I do a simple last 5 minutes, and I just want to display the logs as event name. Okay, so there are a hell lot of logs that we have like shipped. Okay, so you see that there is a something like task completed. So okay, so let's do one thing, let's see last 15 minutes of logs. Yeah, so as you can see, there are a lot of logs that we have sent through last 15 minutes. Now if you simply open that as like root user root login failure, just open that up and let's see what are the inside these all logs. Okay, so root login failure, so I am assuming that hey, these are the logs, right? So yeah, so someone has tried to do a sudo activity or tried to do a SSH, so these are all syslog, right? Okay, so I have just opened up one virus detected event, and as you can see, these events are coming from the Palo Alto devices. Okay, and if you see the message information and all those fields are present in front, so these are like quite interesting thing that is going on, and you can see the low level category and every damn thing is actually getting parsed in these particular logs. And I am assuming there could be some offenses also. Let's do a quick check. I'm not sure if yeah, so you see there are also some offenses that is coming up from the way that we have just run this cases.sh that file. Okay, so yeah, so that's all I guess. So now it's time for you people to do a hands-on and let me know if you guys have any queries, so we can catch up for our next session or our next follow-up session. So stick around to the next session also, because in the next session what we are gonna do, we are gonna simply drill down to these offenses and we can do a quick check for false positive reduction, because that is a huge pain for any of the L1 or L2 people, and people don't understand that what actually they need to do if they want to create or they want to play around with the alerts and offense. Okay, so yeah, and before leaving, please don't forget to like my particular video, so that gives me encourage and motivation to create all those beautiful videos for you guys. And please share, subscribe to BlackPerl channel if you are new to this platform, and if you are my watcher, so congratulations to you. Please keep sharing my contents to your peers who are interested to learn DFIR, so that we can be and we can lift our BlackPerl to a new higher level. Okay, so I'll catch you guys next time.